Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And this is an experiment in my first attempt because I cannot go in that room and sit down and record a wrap up. So instead, I'm going to stream it, and then I'm going to download it, and I'll edit it in case I need to put in some like book titles or whatever. I don't know. I'll edit it and add some bits if I do anything that requires bits. And then put it out. I may never do this again, but for now I'm doing it. And so thank you guys for joining me. What if I made that a little, so it didn't just friggin', well, the image on the TV is going to keep distracting, I suppose. Anyway, thanks everybody for joining me. Y'all spamming the dang chat. The chat XP, I looked it up. You only get for the first 3 messages every hour. So, quit that foolishness. Anyway, this is my February wrap-up. This is Alan from the past. I want to get through my wrap-up. So if this works, guys, I'll probably do one of these every week and get this out. In the month of February, I read 5 books. I actually read 5 books. I read a lot in January and February. In March, I guess State was in March. March was not as good. But in February, I read 5 books. And you know what? I think, hey guys, for me, 5 books is a lot, especially in February, which is a short month. Get my face. I read 5 books, and the 5-star strumpet had a great month, guys, because I had 1 2-star book, 1 4-star book, and 3 5-star books. So the 5-star strumpet had a great month. And this is, Anita, where I would pause for editing because it's going to freeze. It's going to zoom in. It's going to go, and there's going to be sparkles, and it's going to go. Because that is the 5-star strumpet bit. So let's go ahead and get this. Started. I'll always start with the worst book, and I want to get this out of the way. My 2-star book was Elvin Star, Elvin Star by Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman. And guys, this is book 2 of the Deathgate cycle. It isn't good. Like, it is so much worse than I remember it. Dragonwing was not. Like, Dragonwing was a little cheesy in that it was. It was pretty. It was pretty predictable and tropey. And some of the elves. I'm reading Ursula's comment. Some of the dialogue is not good, like when there's literally, like, the bad guy's name is Sinistrad, and he says, "Oh, you're married. You knew what you got when you married the darkness," and it's like, that's cheesy. But Elvin Star isn't good. So where book 1 takes place in the realm of air, which is a really interesting world, the world building is cool in that the dwarves live like on the ground, but like far below like everyone else. The elves and the elves live like on the treetops of these massive trees, and there's like lakes up there, like on the treetops, like and then the humans they still live in the trees, but they live like in different layers, like under the trees, or like midway down the trees or whatever. And so the elves are kind of like the nobles, and this follows some elves, dwarves, and humans that kind of unite against these beasts called the Titans that appear, and all they say is, "Where are the citadels? Where are the citadels?" And when you say you don't know, they literally tear you apart. And so they're ravaging the entire world. And they're elves and dwarves in this book. And then Haplo shows up, and Haplo's job is to foment chaos. That's his job from his because the whole premise is that Haplo is being sent through to the 4 worlds through from his master to foment chaos in the worlds, so that his master can then come in and they'll hail him as a savior, and then he can wage war on their ancient enemy. This is not good for several reasons. One, and so Mike here, likes Zifnab, and I hate him. I hate him so much. And if you do not know who Zifnab is, it is Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman's attempt at like a united like universe kind of thing. Zifnab is just an anagram of Fizban, who is a stupidly powerful wizard from the Dragonlance Chronicles. He makes Zifnab's constantly making comments like about like modern day. Like he talks about like the Challenger mission and other stuff like that. And it's so jarring, and it's supposed to be funny. And I think I thought it was funny when I was younger. I don't like it now. I don't. I hate him now. Yeah. So it's like a proto Hoyd, as Sal says. It's just annoying. Like, he's just annoying. I don't like him at all. Oh, never mind. I'm so sorry. I slandered Mike here. And said that Mike liked Zifnab. Mike does not like Zifnab, which is a much better opinion. This book, like, the story's not very good. It's just them escaping from the Titans, the entire book. And the characters are so bad. Like, they're not good in this book. Haplo, like, I love the stuff with Haplo, and the world building stuff is cool, but all the other stuff dealing with anything else is just, it's just not good. Like, the writing isn't very good. The dialogue is terrible. The dialogue is terrible. That dialogue is just, it's so terrible. It is TRBL, triple word score. It's bad. And so I did not enjoy it. So 2 stars for this. And I gave, like, Dragon Wing, I gave more. At least 3 for Dragon Wing. I like Dragon Wing way better. This is not as good. You read this, Pete? You read Elvin Star? How far did you make in this series? Hey, whoop, knocked the cup off. All right, so there we go. Next book, 4-star read. Boosh. This is Shadow Games. This is book 5 of the Black Company. So Shadow Games is book 5 of the Black Company. It's actually book 1 in the Books of the South. And this really begins the southern, I mean, I just said that, but this begins the story writ large. Like, the first 3 books are important, but they are not, everything doesn't really build off of books 1 through 3 like the remainder of the series does. And Shadow Games, it's 4 stars because Black Company, but it's a lot of people on Goodreads like, this was my favorite one since the first one or whatever. No, it's low key boring. It's a ton of setup that definitely pays off by the end of the series. But you should not just read Shadow Games and then not read anything else, which is what Jimmy has done. Because I read this with Jimmy, Jimmy Nuts. We actually buddy read it. We're like, okay, boom, we're gonna read 4 chapters a day. So we did. And the ending is super exciting. It's cliffhangery. But it's just a lot of setup that is then more light is revealed in book 6, and then book 7 through 10 really kind of change the game. And book 10 is fantastic. Soldiers Live is absolutely tremendous. Again, every time I talk about the Black Company, I talk about how individual books are not as good. While they are good, they are not as good as the story writ large. Probably. I would not be surprised if that was true, Mitch. And so I really liked it. We get a lot more new characters that many of them persist through the series, but there are very few, because coming down from, like, there are not many. They're much smaller heading down south than they were in the first 3 books. So I can't really talk much about it because it's huge spoilers. But I like it. It is definitely like South Asian inspired, and a lot of Indian inspiration as well in this book and in the rest of the series, which is cool if you want something that is not like European fantasy thing. So yeah, Shadow Games is good. It's not one of my favorites. It's not one of my favorite of the series. Soldiers Live is tremendous. I love She Is the Darkness. And I also love Shadows Linger. Those are probably my 3 favorites. But yeah, 4 stars for Shadow Games, pretty good. Okay. Then 5-star, we have Boosh the Rising, book 2 of the Mechanicals, or the Alchemy Wars. We've already had a discussion on this. This follows up with kind of the state change from, and I got a bunch of little notes here I guess I need to take. It's a really good book. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed each subsequent one more. I'm not alone in liking the 3rd book the best, but I know that that is not a unanimous decision. I really like book 2. I like what it did with the POV characters. In 2, we've got the long champs. Hugo has a POV, which I really enjoyed from the soldier's perspective, and then Berenice is going ham, and of course Jax, and as Anita says, there is a siege, which I really liked. It takes everything I liked about book 1 and kind of runs with it and ramps it up. I mean, it's got similar themes, but also like what happens when, similar to City of Stairs that we just had a conversation about that I'll link, I guess, up here. It talks about like what happens when the oppressed become the oppressors, and how does one navigate that? And what do people do when they have freedom after they haven't had it for a long time? Some do nothing. But then, some people like to oppress and go after the people that once had them rather than trying to get out. Yeah, Pete says this Rising is his favorite. I think that's a I think it's a common opinion also. I think it's about split. And I think there was one person that liked the first one the best. But yeah, I can't really talk about it a ton because it's the second book in a series, but it's really good. I think Tregillis is just good at writing. His writing is unique enough to where it's interesting, but it's not bogged down. The sieges, the action that he writes, the boots on the ground action that he writes is really intense. Even though there's a siege in this, there is nothing still that compares. Let me put my phone on mute. That compares to the violent scene in book 1, even though the scale is much, much smaller. Like the action, like Tregillis writes really like heart-pounding, intense action. So yeah, really, really good. I am going to do a series review of this series because I think it's kind of too late for me to do individual book reviews. I should get on that when I get there. I should get on that as I read the books, but I just don't. So anyway, 5 stars for The Rising. Okay, so this next book, I'm barely going to talk about. I'm barely going to talk about. Monster Calls is 5 stars by Patrick Ness. I did not know what this was. I just heard people talking about it and about how it was wonderful and it was really moving. And I didn't know what this was. Like, it's like a horror book or whatever. And I got it, and I certainly didn't realize it was this big, thick, heavy. I didn't realize it's a children's book, theoretically. So it's not really a children's book, but it's kind of a children's book. Right? It's a children's book, correct? Monster Calls? It is a book. It is a book that can be read by young people. So it's not really a children's book, but it's a book that can be read by young people. And as little as is said about this book as possible is the best. Christina read it. Just know that this is an emotionally manipulative book. It's actually just incredibly moving. It's an incredibly moving book, and you don't expect it to be moving because it's called The Monster Calls. But it is. It's very moving. Hey, Christina, would you like to come tell people? Would you like to come tell people what your face looked like as you're reading this book? Yeah. You come describe how you felt reading this book without giving anything away.
I don't know that I can do that.
Okay. Well, this is Christina reading this book. Right?
How does that not give anything away?
It doesn't. I just said it was. I already said it's moving. You thought it was sad.
It is very moving.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It is very moving.
No, I read it first and then told Christina to read it because I knew she was going to cry. Literally. Like, I had her read it because I knew. And she kept asking me questions like, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? I'm like, no. Or I lied to her or didn't tell her. And then she couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle it. Monsters Call and Wonder Why. Exactly. That's the crossover. This is very short. Like, here are the amount of pages that are on words that are on each page, right?
Yeah, it's a quick read.
It's already only like, it's literally 105 pages. And many of them have these pictures and stuff, right? And it's actually low-key scary at the beginning. And then it just becomes really moving. It is, at its core, it is about a kid who feels very alone in the world. And it is profoundly moving. Like, I do recommend this book for really anybody. Like, I can't imagine who wouldn't like this book, and it's also quite short. So I recommend this for everybody. Wouldn't you, honey?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's just the poor kid. Like, Connor is just, I mean, you just really feel for him. Like he is alone and just wants to be seen. And
I would say the like character study of
yeah,
the young boy's psyche is like really interesting
yeah,
and really well done.
it is. It is quite good. Like it's exceptional. Like I recommend this to anybody. So yeah, check this out. It's very short, and you really should all read it if you haven't. So as always, before I go into my favorite book of the month, I talk about what I was reading and watching. I'm certain I was still, Christina, was I still watching 24 in February? I was probably still watching 24 in February. What did I watch after 24? Did I watch Friends again? I watched Scrubs after 24? Surely I watched something before that. I watched all of Friends again? Really? Did I watch all of Friends before 24? Did I watch Friends relatively recently? Yeah, before 24. Anyway, I think I was still watching 24. I don't think it's Scrubs, honey, because I finished Scrubs really recently. Anyway, um, yeah, I watched all 9 seasons of 24 again because it's a great show. Oh, so what prompted me to pick up a Monster Calls is that I saw people talking about it online, and I was scrolling through my Goodreads feed, and I saw people were like just profoundly affected by it, and also I saw how short it was, and so I ordered it, and I didn't like read it immediately, but I had finished. I forget. Let's look at the spreadsheet. Let's look at the replay, guys. I read Monster Calls on the 5th, so I had just finished. The Rising, and I had started the next book, but my next book that I haven't talked about yet is really long, and so I was just like hanging out, and I saw Monster Calls like on my stack, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna read that, and I got in the bath and I read it, in one sitting, done. I do have a spreadsheet. I've shown my spreadsheet. Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? I know. So I was watching 24, I guess, and playing. I finished up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which, guys, I'm done with Assassin's Creed. I'm done. I have platinumed every Assassin's Creed from 1 through Odyssey, and it's just not fun for me anymore. Odyssey was really cool, like running around all the Greek sites that I teach about, and so that was really rewarding. But they're too long, and they're just not fun anymore. Like it's just too much crap. Like I don't care. First of all, I've heard Shadows isn't even good. I definitely have not played the Viking one. That's the next one, and I've heard everyone says it's awful, and I don't even like Vikings. So I think I'm done with Assassin's Creed. Like I platinumed AC Odyssey, but I don't have 100% because I didn't do all the DLC stuff, and I don't want to. Like I started doing it, and I'm like, this isn't fun. Like I'm literally skipping through the story. Like I don't care. I don't care. All right, well, baby's driver thing's gonna play. Anyway, so I'm done with AC, and then I played Trails Through Daybreak 2. Trail into Daybreak 2, which is a Trails game, which me and Finn always play together. It is a like at this point 13 game series with like a continuing storyline. And this one was not good. And the reason it wasn't good is because it wasn't supposed to exist. They didn't finish their other property in time. They release alternating years or whatever, an East game, Falcom, an East game, and a Trails game in alternating years. And they weren't going to finish their East game. So they had to make a new Trails game in a year, and it shows. And nothing you do in the game matters to the larger storyline. It turns out at the end, it's like, oh, and that wasn't even the guy we were looking out for. It was not good. It's a Trails game, which means it was fun. Just as far as Trails games are concerned, it was not very good. It was not very good. Finn and I both finished it, and we're like, yeah, I mean, that was a game. That's fine, I guess. We're super psyched for the one coming out in October or November that is supposed to give us a whole bunch of reveals that we've been sitting here waiting for. I have never played Telltale's Walking Dead, but I've played many of their other games like Trails to the Borderlands and Wolf Among Us, and the Batman ones. Christina, they like your apron. So yeah, so I finished that. So now to my favorite book of the month, The Sea Watch, 5 stars. Book 6 of The Shadows of the Apt by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And look at these tabs. Like, who am I? I put some tabs. You'll note that there are tabs here, but then as further you get in there, there start to be dog ears. And this is because I was not near my tabs. So the Sea Watch is great. I'm so glad I started reading Apt again. I like Scarab Path more. There is a siege in Scarab Path that is just freaking sick. Like, it's just so good. But Sea Watch returns to the political maneuvering that it's extremely Stenwald heavy, and the political like maneuvering in this is wonderful. The middle section is too long. The beginning section and the ending sections are great. The middle section is too long. Yeah, so I like that. I like that book 6 is Stenwald heavy. I do like that, Pete. But the middle section is too long. It's just too long. I don't love the Sea Kindon as much as I do the Land Kindon, and that's really it. Otherwise, it's a tremendous book. So I didn't not like it. I just thought they overstayed their welcome in the sea stuff. I know, right? I know. It's not that if you read the back, it doesn't say anything about the prologue talks about the bloody sea kindon. Yeah, exactly. So, but it's great. It's just too long. You're just down there too long. Long past when I think you need to be. And I think Tchaikovsky's just being like, look at all the sea kindon stuff, which is awesome. Like, the world building's awesome. I just did not enjoy that. But again, I can't really talk too much about it because it's book 6. But some of just like the betrayals and the double dealing and the bargaining and the movements, because like I talked about in Sea Watch, like, the war may be over, but is it? Like, the war is not over. It's just on pause. It's just on pause. I haven't read a ton of Tchaikovsky as far as I haven't read any of his science fiction, but like Apt is just peak military fantasy. Like, it is so good. I do not think Apt gets the reputation that it deserves as being as exceptional as it actually is when it comes to military fantasy. Like, it's just really good. It does so many things really, really well. Do I think it is the best at anything? I mean, I would put the Scarab Path siege against I don't know, a lot of other sieges I've read. So the military stuff is significantly better than Promise of Blood. So yeah. So Scarab Path, boo 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 boo. So yeah, that's my wrap up. 5 books. The next one I'm gonna do on the actual YouTube streaming platform, so I can be like, okay, guys, let's set a goal. Let's set a goal for 10 super chats, and if you get it, if we hit it, chat, then I'll do an unboxing of some ludicrously expensive thing that I could definitely afford to buy, but people send me for free because I have a bunch of subscribers. So that's how that'll be. But no, I adhered to my TBR pretty well. Actually, like, I actually did really well with TBR. You would have to double check it. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for watching. That's it for me. That's all for me for today. I'd like to, shout out all the patrons that came to the stream. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And as always, information about Patreon and Discord, it's down in the description. I guess I should look at the camera when I do this. Information about Patreon and Discord is down in the description. And I'll see you next time, guys.